Hey, healing family. Today I wanted to kind of just have a cozy, relaxing chat and discuss a pretty simple somatic and spiritual tool, although you can use it any way that you want, that we can use pretty much anywhere. It's super simple, it's super accessible, and this is the use of hand mudras. So these are gestures or symbolic symbols we make with our hands, which are often seen from Hindu and Buddhist practices, although Christian contemplative practices will use certain hand mudras as well. And these are believed to have different effects on our body and mind. This is more on that spiritual realm, which I know not everyone is super big on exploring, but I do think mind, body, and spirit are super integral to our healing, no matter what your belief system is. Even if that belief system is just that there is some energy greater than us that we are not able to completely understand, I do think that is, in essence, spirituality. And then your belief system can kind of go anywhere from that. So, hand mudras, we can look at a lot of different ways that people think that they are useful. One would be stress reduction. Some mudras are believed to help with our ability to regulate our limbic system, which I know we focus on a lot on this channel. So, for example, the Gyan Mudra, which is the thumb and index finger touching, which we often think about. We see people closing their eyes, resting their hands cross legged, and doing this for meditation. And it is thought to increase concentration and reducing negative energy, and that contributes overall to balancing our nervous system. Mudras are believed to help balance the flow of life force energy or prana within the body. When that energy is flowing smoothly, it can have a really positive impact on our mental health. And as we know, trauma blocks the flow of energy in our bodies, it gets stuck, and that's what leads to a lot of our distress. Mudras can be a really simple and creative way to help regulate our emotions. And they do this by perhaps stimulating specific energy channels in the body. So, for example, the Vayu Mudra, which we're going to cover later, has been thought to help alleviate anxiety and calm the mind. The other part of this that is more cognitive and behavior focused is that even just thinking about and focusing on using a mudra and that act of grounding in, using our body in a way that feels comforting, brings in somatics. It brings in this idea of a mind-body connection where cognitively we can enhance our concentration, we can enhance our focus, we can bring in a sense of grounding if we are otherwise feeling dissociating or traumatized. And again, that connection with spirituality, whatever that means to you. There is some science behind mudras, which I wanted to talk about a little bit. There is ongoing research here, but most of this comes from yoga and Ayurvedic traditions. So mudras are deeply rooted in ancient traditions, a lot from the spiritual side, emphasizing the interconnectedness of mind, body, and spirit, and about how using our hands in different ways can influence that flow of life force energy or prana. But there is some research suggesting that the mudras work on a similar principle to acupressure, which involves applying pressure to specific points on the body, the hands, the feet, to activate meridians, energy centers in Chinese medicine. Meridians are believed to be channels through which our energy flows. And by stimulating certain points along these meridians or energy centers, we can impact different parts of our health. So mudras specifically would focus on activating these acupressure points in the hands and influence that flow of energy and health outcomes. There's also some emerging evidence suggesting that hand movements and gestures can influence brain activity and neural pathways. Studies have shown that different hand movements can activate specific parts of our brain associated with motor control, language processing, and emotional regulation. And by focusing our attention and working on mindfulness associated with mudras, we know that mindfulness has a lot of scientific backed impacts on our mental health and our emotional health. So we can start by looking at some different mudras. The first one I wanted to go over is the Apanvaya Mudra. So for this mudra, you're going to take the pad of your index finger to the base of your thumb. Then the pads of your middle and ring finger come to the tip of your thumb and your pinky extends outward. So we're going to hold that for as long as it feels comfortable for us. Now, you can put your hand out, you can put it up, wherever it feels good, depending on how our meditation is, if we're sitting or laying down. This mudra is believed to help regulate hormones and has been said to work for anxiety, impulsivity, hypervigilance from trauma. And throughout Hindu tradition, it has been believed to help with cardiac issues. So, again, we want to talk to our doctor. We don't want to rely fully on mudras to work on our healing, but it's something that we can think of as far as using these tools if we feel like we want to work more on our concentration, our focus, or balancing out our energies. Another way we can approach mudras is to think about the 5 elements being in balance. So traditionally, our thumb represents fire or consciousness. Universally, our index finger represents air and individual consciousness. Our middle finger represents ether, space, stillness, and connects us to intuition and the spiritual realm. Our ring finger represents earth, and our little finger represents water. So we need all of these elements to be in balance and in harmony in order for our body to find health and vitality, which we also hear about a lot in traditional Chinese medicine. Now, I did want to note that the Christian Yoga Association does talk about mudras from a Christian perspective. So if you feel like you're not sure if you can practice mudra work or any sort of yoga work, if you have a different faith tradition, especially with Christianity, I know that every specific denomination of Christianity has different beliefs on this, but the Christian Yoga Association and Yoga Faith both do talk about using mudras in a way that can be in alignment with any faith. One of the Bible verses they quote is from Luke 13, which is, "And he laid his hands on her, and immediately she was made straight, and she glorified God." They talk a lot about mudra meaning seal, gesture, closure in Sanskrit, and how if we think about these as postures of prayer to help us connect with our spirituality, to help us connect with the divine and our intuition, that this is something that anyone can practice and use. So we also think about Anali Mudra, which is something that we're going to see in both the yoga, Hinduism, Buddhist, and Christian traditions. And this is where our palms and our fingers are together in front of our heart space, symbolizing honor and respect towards yourself, the universe, love, gratitude. Throughout India, if you ever travel there, people will do this mudra and bow in namaste as a greeting and a parting. So this is one of those ones that I think is very common and comforting to anyone, no matter what your faith tradition. And there's a lot of things that we can use as part of Anali Mudra. We can work on that grounding sensation of our energy balancing between left and right, masculine, feminine, all of the different areas of our body coming into union. And this is often used as a part of a yoga practice. And it helps to alleviate stress and anxiety, and again, to feel balanced and connected and grounded. I will often use this with clients in the mental health perspective, where if you're feeling nervous and you don't want anyone knowing you're using a coping skill, you could sit with your hands together like this, either up or down at your lap, and you can even just practice, like one finger at a time, coming apart and reconnecting. Noticing if you notice subtle changes in your energy doing this, even your palms coming apart and together, apart and together. And so this is a little bit of a deviation from the traditional Anali Mudra practice, but I like to also incorporate somatics work and the mental health evidence-based practices into this. It's very grounding. We're reconnecting with our body. We can reconnect by breathing, open and close, inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale, whatever feels good for us here. And we're going to notice that this is a very grounding somatic practice. So that's the Anali Mudra. How does this work into our limbic system healing journey? Well, the limbic system is a complex set of our brain structures that are involved in our emotions, behavior, motivation, memory, and they impact our immune response and our stress response. So we know that this plays a huge role in regulating emotions and stress and immune system. So any practice involving mindfulness, prayer, meditation, deep breathing is going to help shift us into parasympathetic activation, soothing our nervous system, helping to regulate our emotions and our immune response. Somatic therapy, which is something that I think is so useful, because I think almost any of us that are dealing with any sort of limbic system imbalance, chronic pain, chronic illness, it comes from trauma as a root cause on some level. Now, that trauma might be what we traditionally think of as trauma with emotional or mental health trauma, but this could also just be the trauma of going through a medical issue, going through an illness, going through an infection, living with chronic pain that has locked our limbic system into a chronic stress response. Anytime we're incorporating any sort of mind and body intervention, even something as simple as a mudra, we are integrating somatic therapy. And in the psychotherapy field where I come from, we use somatics to encourage a bottom up approach, which is knowing that sometimes healing has to start by feeling connected with our mind, body, and spirit, rather than just thinking through all of the cognitions and trying to think through our problems and talk through them. Sometimes we have to feel into bodily sensations in order to harness our emotional sense of self, our physical healing, and to promote that deeper healing. There's a lot of unresolved issues and trauma that are stored in our body as something that we perceive as tension, pain, or other somatic issues. And we have to access those through body awareness, movement, breath work, and any of these deep seated awareness of our body therapies, like the use of mudras and breath work, is going to help balance our limbic system, bring back our innate sense of healing, and helping to engage with focusing on our sensations and our awareness by the use of, for example, a mudra. We can activate neural pathways that maybe have been dormant or that need to be rewired in our limbic system. And that can help us with process emotions and increasing our tolerance to stress. This is just another way that we can use this connection with mind, body, and spirit to feel safer, to build on our coping skills, and to release stored tension or trauma in the body. I think at the end of the day, these are simple tools, but they are tools that can really be useful. And it's something that's so easy to incorporate no matter where you are and what you're going through. So I hope this was helpful for you today. If you have any questions, please comment below, and we will work more together soon.